Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to another episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X.
And Ish.
You already know what to do. If you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast. If you are on our YouTube channel, please go ahead and hit that red subscribe button, and as well, go ahead and hit that notification bell so you can be notified for shows like this one in the future.
Ding.
And as well, if you are on Periscope, on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it, go ahead and check us out there. We'll be streaming live on Periscope, on X Talking Ish, and as well on my personal page at X underscore Williams AT1. All righty then. Thank y'all once again for joining us here on the live segment of X Talking Ish recap of week one. We know that there are a lot of things on tonight for I know for the millennials. There are the VMAs, and my wife is watching at the moment. She's enjoying herself, and if y'all took yourself away from that, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Other than that, Ish, let me throw it to you. Besides you being sick, other than that, are you okay? What's going on with you, sir?
you know, um, Other than being sick, I'm doing all right actually. I know this is the overreaction week. Um, I definitely was watching the games, and there were some things that I watched, and I was like, damn, I was so wrong. And there were other things that I watched, and I was like, man, I might know a thing or two. Then there were a couple things, of course, in the middle that I was just like, we're gonna have to wait a little bit and let's see. But overall, I don't think I'm too high, I'm too low. I'm feeling good after week one.
So what it sounds like to me is just a normal, typical week one of the NFL
Yeah.
season.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We know
Yeah.
everything, yet we know nothing at all
Oh,
about
for sure.
any
For
of
sure.
these
For sure.
teams. I think everybody kind of had a thought process of how some teams were going to look week one. Some people, or some teams probably came true when it comes to how they were able to perform, and some teams probably definitely let a lot of people down. And unfortunately, I don't want to beat a dead horse at this moment, but we have to, of course, go right into Monday Night Football's game and the Bills and the Jets. And of course, leading up to the game was all of the hype and the hoopla of this new Jets team with their new quarterback and their new quarterback starting his second act at a new destination. And as quickly as it started, it ended even quicker,
Mhm.
quicklier. Yep, I feel like I messed that up. The point is, it ended very, very abruptly.
Mhm.
And with that being said, Ish, I'll let you take it away. I'll throw my little 2 cents in, but we'll get to the game obviously in a second. But the obvious elephant in the room: Aaron
Mhm.
Rodgers blows his Achilles.
Yep.
Obviously, will be out for the rest of the season. This isn't just a season ending injury.
Mhm.
This also could be a career ending injury due
One
to
hundred
his
percent.
age, and also just due to there was a lot of uncertainty after 2 years of him being with the Jets anyways, signing his 2-year contract. So Ish, what's your thought process on how this is going to play out for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets?
For Aaron Rodgers, I think he's gonna come back. He's gonna try to come back the best he can. I don't think he's gonna want to end on that note. So I definitely think he's gonna have surgery as soon as possible. Um, be able to probably start throwing somewhere in the springtime, and he should be cleared to go. Come fall preseason, maybe even training camp. The I guess bright side of the injury is it happened week one, right? So it gives him plenty of time to have a full rehab and recovery. And let's look at someone like Cam Akers. Um, Look at there are plenty of athletes who've had some of these injuries now that I would say a couple years ago we would definitely say were career ending. And now I think with modern medicine he may be able to come back. He probably won't be as mobile as he was before, but he'll be able to come back and do a little bit of something. And then for the Jets, um, I had them going to the Super Bowl. I know you had them going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. I think that they still have an opportunity to be really good. That defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense. which is why I had them going to the Super Bowl in the first place. If Zach Wilson can even play decent, I mean, they could still potentially win this division, maybe even make it, to a conference championship game, possibly. I think it's been a while since we saw like a true, just like defensive performance of a defense carrying what would be like I wouldn't even say a game manager, but like a below average kind of quarterback. The last time I really,
Rex Grossman and the Chicago Bears.
yeah, yeah.
That's who I would throw out there. I mean, that actually took them to a Super Bowl. I mean, some people might throw out maybe the New York Jets and Mark Sanchez era, but I think Mark Sanchez was a decent quarterback. I don't know why he gets. I mean, I do know why he gets thrown under the bus a lot due to the butt fumble, but other than that, I mean, he was a serviceable quarterback that helped the New York Jets get to a conference championship not once but twice, going back to back. Um, this is a very interesting one because if Aaron Rodgers was 36, I would say, oh yeah, he'll be back and he'll be ready to go. But I just feel like at the age of 39 and all of the things that Aaron is getting into outside of the football field, I'm not saying what else does he have to prove because he has plenty to prove, right? But I just don't know where to go with this. And the reason why I say all this is because we have a good friend of ours named Napoleon Robichaux, right? He just blew his Achilles, unfortunately, recently. And he's going to have to rehab and he's going to have to go through all the hardships. I have a cousin, a young cousin named Jordan. He just blew his Achilles recently. You have a cousin named Abdul Dooley, and he blew his Achilles a couple years ago. One thing about these blown Achilles is that everybody thinks that it takes a year to get back right. It really takes 2 years. The first year, you get back to what you think is normal, but you really are not able to be yourself until really year two of that injury. And with that being said, I really question if he's going to be able to perform at a high level now due to the Achilles rupture. Like that's really my concern. And it's not even the running aspect; it's really the planning, being able to plant. He's a quarterback that's not, of course, a traditional quarterback that can throw from so many different angles and also planting angles with his feet. But again, he's not 26. He's not a spring chicken, and we all see every year that hey, Father Time wins every year. So I just don't know really is where Aaron Rodgers and the Jets go from here. I was so mad at what I saw. I turned the TV off. I turned it to a different channel. I missed the whole first half because I just didn't want to watch him because I look kind of felt bad for Jet fans. I felt bad for my boy Greeny on ESPN because that's all he talked about in the offseason about how he's riding high with his Jets this year. This is the year they're gonna do something, right? Not the first game, the first drive of the NFL season for the Jets, and when I saw the tackle and he gets up and then he goes back down and they pan over and the way that he's looking, I just knew at that time that it was something major. It wasn't a high ankle sprain. It wasn't a bruised foot, a plantar fasciitis type of situation. It was either Achilles or it was something within his foot to where he couldn't move his foot. And unfortunately, again, we saw what it was. And again, I know I keep on going on with this, but I just really do feel bad for the Jets fans right now. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and move on and let's get to the football aspect of things. The Jets obviously ended up winning this game in overtime with a punt return to win the game, which was a hell of a way to finish the game due to the way that the game started. I will say the way that the Jets were able to rally amongst themselves after Aaron going down shows tremendous leadership and heart amongst the coaching staff and also the players, right? The question is, though, is just how long can they ride this? We're doing this for Aaron. We're doing this for Aaron. All like how long can this last? Is this a 1 game thing? Is this a couple of games thing? Because, like you said, the defense is great, but we all know too. We've been on offense before where the offense wasn't that great, and the defense is looking at the offense like we're not able to win games because this offense can't do anything. How long will the Jets be able to hold the water really for the most part going into the rest of the season? I mean, that's really the big question. And also, if the Bills, keep on spiraling out of control, that bold prediction I had before the season started, maybe that could happen as well too. Watch out maybe for Stephon Diggs on the move in the season.
Yeah. As far as how long can this continue, well, let me just say this. I'm sorry to announce, but you got the Dallas Cowboys who just put a shellacking on the New York Giants. You got them, and you're going to Dallas this week.
We know
So
how football is though. Football's crazy.
yeah,
Football's
I mean,
weird
I'm not
sometimes.
saying football isn't crazy, but
It's
I
just
mean
weird.
that's not the team that I think you want to be running into right now when you're making this change. I think that although I think that they're going to be okay. I think that they're going to be okay. I think they're going to have ups and downs. They're going to obviously have some times where the offense is going to be the reason why they don't win games. Let's just call it what it is. They're going to have those. But I think that overall, as long as they can keep their heads down, really focus, I think that they'll still be able to, like I said, potentially win this division. I think that they can do it. Miami may have something to say about that, but
Yeah, we'll get to them a little bit.
I do think that they could do it. My biggest thing that I got out of this game is this was a nice little wrapping on the week of horror for the former kings of the AFC.
Oh, I think you're
Um,
gonna say for the state of New York, New York.
no. For the kings of the AFC, I mean, you had Patrick Mahomes
Joe
for the
Burrow.
Kansas City Chiefs lose. You had Joe Burrow lose. You had Josh Allen lose. Like, hey, maybe the league came
History.
out and they made a statement. They said, these three teams that everybody's up so high on, who have been, the class of the AFC for the past couple of years.
Maybe the changing of the guard, huh?
Maybe it's changing of guard. Maybe it is a new
Jacksonville.
era.
Jacksonville looked nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a Baltimore. They
Mhm.
they looked well. Obviously, against a
Yeah,
inferior
the
opponent, but
Texans. I mean, don't
we'll
do
talk
that.
about them
Yeah,
shortly.
no.
Greg says Jets are going 7-10 this season.
I
So
was just looking at their schedule. It'll be
that's a step
interesting.
back. That's a step back from last year.
I don't think it'll be a step back. I think they're a better defense than they were last year. I think they're a better team than they were last year. I think they'll be very competitive. They get to play the Patriots twice, which I think that should be 2 wins.
Oh, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about it another day. All right, let's go ahead and start off with Thursday night football. Lions and Chiefs. We'll go by these a little quickly. Ish, this is of course your team. I'll let you have the floor.
Yeah, I mean, it's overreaction week, so everybody thinks the Chiefs are going to go 0 and 17 this year. That's fine, whatever. Good win for the Lions. Way to go. We keep moving.
Ish was one of those Chiefs fans that was wanting to rain on Lions fans parade when it comes to this being their Super Bowl. It definitely probably was, and I think this game on Thursday Night Football kind of started off the silliness of what we've seen on Sunday and Monday night when it comes to just week one. Wow, just don't
Overreaction.
really know what's going on right now. I mean, Cowboys blew out the Giants 40-0, right? I mean, but by the time week 18 gets here, the Giants might blow the Cowboys out 40-0, right? So I mean, what you do in the first half of the season really don't mean anything if you can't finish it out. So I will say with this game, I did pick the Lions to win, not really because they're overall a better team, was because honestly, just Chris Jones and Travis Kelce were out that game. That's the main reason why I did pick the Lions to win that game. Chris Jones, of course, did sign his 1 year deal with the Chiefs, so of course he will be back. It'll be interesting to see how quickly of an impact he will make on that defensive line and how many games it'll take him to get back into game shape. But for the Lions, I mean, I will say that for them, for their psyche, just for them and the inside of Detroit, I think that this is a great win for them to see internal to know that they can do something. Right, this is a big win. No matter if it was Patrick Mahomes at quarterback or Travis Kelce at tight end or not, they're going to make it seem as though that this was a hard fought win, which it was, and we're going to take this and we're going to go on to week 2, and we're going to hopefully be 1-0 from there. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Houston Texans and the Baltimore Ravens. It was close at first. I will say the Texans did what they've been doing last season, which is keep it close in the first half, and then the second half came and all the wheels fell off. And the Ravens, as the better opponent, went ahead and took care of business at home and held the Texans to only 9 points. Ish, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, not much to say here other than I don't like this. I didn't like the way they were utilizing CJ Stroud when I was watching this game. I know that's the first game. He kind of grew into the game as the game went on. But just in what I saw early on and just as I'm watching it, it's going to be a long year. It's going to be a long year.
Now, I'm assuming, obviously, you're putting all that on the offensive coordinator, correct?
Oh, 100%, 100%. I just don't think that they were. I think early on they weren't putting him in a place to be successful. They were trying to do a little bit too much, putting a lot of pressure on his shoulders. This receiving core by no means is elite, and this offensive line has been well documented as absolutely horrendous, probably the worst offensive line um, in the league. So to have all the injuries on that line, to have all the things that you have going wrong already, and then trying to, do some rollouts, have him holding on to the ball a little bit long. Some of that he admitted was him. Some of that to me was just the design of some of the plays, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. I thought they should come out, get it out of his hands quick, play as much as they could, a quick game, try to run a little bit, which they couldn't run the ball because this line is horrible. Yeah, it's just gonna be a long year. It's gonna be a long year because I don't really know how you build something when you really don't have the foundation there to even get moving. This line is going to. We could see Derek Carr numbers as far as sacks.
Or you mean, or David Carr?
Oh, David.
Oh,
You're
you're good.
right.
You're good.
Sorry,
No, you're good. You're good.
David.
No, you're
David.
you're good. Trust me, I get them mixed up all the time. Um, First things first. Let's be real. C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson, first year quarterbacks, first game for their career, and C.J. Stroud, unfortunately, just got the unfortunate luck of the draw playing against a Baltimore bully Ravens defense. I mean, it is what it is. I don't think anybody really expected the Texans to go into Baltimore and win that game. I expected them to make it competitive and hard fought type of game. I didn't expect them to win. But overall, I think this is part of overreaction Tuesday when it comes to how week 1 went. I think the Texans, obviously they're in a rebuild mode and they're trying to figure out how to utilize all these parts. But I guess my question for the Texans is, what are we trying to do with C.J. Stroud, right? Are you trying to make him into a pro-style quarterback? Are you trying to utilize his skill set like we see with guys? I don't want to bring up Justin Fields because I think Justin Fields is not getting utilized probably the way that he should as well. But obviously, like Anthony Richardson with the Colts and, of course, Patrick Mahomes and other guys of that nature. Do you think that plays a part as well with the two-ish?
I think so. Maybe it may play a little part, but I don't know really with them. It's the Texans, so.
All right. I guess it's unfortunately a little bit more of the same with the Texans in that organization, but who knows? Maybe and hopefully for
It's
them,
only week 1 though.
yes, this week 1 again, things can Things can change. Travis Crow says, "What up, fellas?
What up? What up?
What up? What up?" All right, Browns and Bengals. This was again, if you look at the numbers, like I said in the pregame show, the Browns, for whatever reason, had the Bengals number. And they did once again. And it looks like Myles Garrett, and you talked about offensive lines. This Bengal offensive line did not go to work at all, trying to take care of business against Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett had himself a field day. He looks like he was enjoying himself so much that he wanted to play basketball while playing football at the same time. So with that being said, are you more concerned about the Bengals, or is this a positive sign for the Browns and what's to come?
No, I think it's a positive sign for the Browns. I'm not too concerned yet for the Bengals. I want to see maybe 2 more weeks or so before we really kind of start ringing the alarm bells. I think they're on low alert right now. Um, but for the Browns, this is a good sign of, hey, you were able to beat a division rival at home, and not just beat them, but you convincingly took care of them, right?
21-0 that ass. Yep.
So it looked good. It looks like this defense. I think last year we were really high on this team and this defense, and we said, oh no, not last year, the year before, we said like, hey, look out for the Browns. This defensive line, they have the makeup. They could make some noise, and then they didn't. And then last year, they didn't. And I mean, I guess they just needed a couple years or something. I don't know really. But yeah, it looks good. They've got the players on the back end also in the secondary to help out this defensive line if the defensive line is not able to get pressure. So it'll be interesting to see how they compete in the AFC North. The AFC North is turning out to be an interesting division once again. It'll be very interesting to see how this division looks as we move forward. Obviously, the Steelers did not have a great week, and then the Ravens, just when you thought they were back, yet another running back injury.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of Achilles, yeah, I didn't bring that up with the last game with when I was talking about the Ravens and Texans, but J.K. Dobbins, man, it's just. I mean, I know, and then going back to, of course, to the Jets game, I know David Bakari from the Packers was talking about the turf itself,
mhm.
but you've played football a very long time. I've played football a very long time. We've played it on grass. I've played on turf. I've, I mean, I guess yes, I haven't had too many injuries on grass, but I've had injuries on both. Right? I mean, I don't think for Aaron Rodgers' injury, it was due to the turf. Again, I could be wrong. People will say because his foot got caught up in the turf. I don't know. But for J.K. Dobbins, it was literally the exact same type of tackle that Aaron Rodgers had, and I was telling my wife that for whatever reason in football, anytime that you have a normal routine type of tackle type of play, that's when serious injuries happen. Well, you
Yep.
see a guy get helicoptered in the air and thrown in the air 65 feet in the air, and he do a windmill and come down and fall down like Bugs Bunny. He hop right back up and in the huddle. Like I can't explain this to you. This is again part of week one football. I can't explain this. This is just football for you. So for the Ravens, man, I go back when it comes to saying the same thing about the Jets. I feel bad for them when it comes to just their psyche of guys just going down week by week. I don't have too much really to say on this other than let's see if the Browns can sustain this. We've seen the Bengals; they were able to, of course, rally back, being down 0-2 and making it all the way to the Super Bowl. So, and we also know that Joey B was out all preseason due to his calf injury. So maybe they might need a couple more weeks to get things going, and we'll check in on them by mid-season. Well, what a silly game in Minnesota here with the Buccaneers and the Minnesota Vikings. Again, wacky week one. I know the questions are going to come out saying is Baker Mayfield, is he back, right? Is he the Baker Mayfield of 5-6 years ago, and can he lead this Bucks team and take over this Bucks team and the torch passed on from Tom Brady to Baker? I don't have that answer for you right now, Ish, because I don't know what to make of this whole game right here. We talked about it on the pregame show. This is the Vikings game to lose. You're supposed to win this game. You're at home. You're a 4.5 point favorite. You have all the weapons on the offensive side, at least. I mean, the defense you held it. The defense held the Bucks only 20 points. I mean, I feel like the Vikings did their job for the most part. The offense, I mean, where you guys at? Kirk Cousins, I'm looking right at you. You're the leader. Let's get it together. Early in the season, obviously, but these are one of those games where I feel like you have to take care of business and you got to do what you need to do at home because you don't want to look back week 16, 17 saying, dang, I wish we could have took care of business week one ish.
Yeah, more of the Vikings losing close games. This is, a common theme for the Minnesota Vikings. Just when you thought that they were going to be able to um, kind of get over this hump of like we lose really close games thing, and it looks like it's back to bite them again. It's just week one, but we're gonna have to see. This is a game they really should have just ran away with. I feel like, but hey, hats off to Tampa Bay. They seem to be taking it very personal that everybody has counted them out because Tom Brady is gone. Um, I just want to say for the record, Baker Mayfield, if you're watching, I'm not discounting y'all because Tom Brady is gone. I'm discounting y'all because nobody wants to watch y'all anyway, and y'all are boring as hell. So,
And also, Mike Evans don't even want to be there.
yeah, Mike Evans don't even want to be with y'all. So, yeah, I just Captain America. What can we do? And hey, we've heard about Stefan not being happy in Buffalo. Maybe Justin Jefferson. Maybe he tired of Captain America already.
Speculation going on. Speculation. One thing I will say though, before we move on, stop being disrespectful to the Minnesota Vikings because last year they were actually the best team, win percentage wise, when it comes to games within 3 points.
Yeah,
It was
last
two
year.
years ago. It was 2 years ago where they were one of the worst teams
Yeah, okay,
in three
well,
point games. But last
it's
year
back.
they actually performed very, very well in close
Like I
games.
said, when you thought they were over the hump,
There
it's
goes the
back.
hump once again. Yeah, I got you. I got you. All right, before we move on with the rest of the games, I just want to let everybody know we're still doing the
Hand
giveaway.
delivered giveaway.
Yes, sir. We're doing the mini helmet giveaway for the New York Football Jets, Mr. Leonard Williams. Again, so since you guys are tuning in, there will not be a clue tonight, but most likely will be one next week. So again, tune in. You don't know what the clue is going to be, but you have to make sure that you collect these clues. And I ain't talking about Blues Clues to be able to win this beautiful, beautiful mini helmet and be able to do whatever you want to do with it. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Tennessee Titans and New Orleans Saints. Saints coming here as a 2.5 point favorite, and they did not disappoint with this type of game. Both sides, this was a slug match, one of those slugfest type of defensive matchups. The Titans scored 0 touchdowns, but they put up 15 points due to 5 field goals. And the Saints, they were able to, I would say, steal a game at home. Yeah, I said what I said. They stole that game. Titans should have won that game, god damn it. Okay. But it's all good. Saints want to do what they need to do in New Orleans and cheat, bounty gate, but I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna let it rest. But anyways,
Do you have any
we're on
real
we're on to
analysis
next
here
week.
for
Okay,
this
we're
one?
on to next week.
Do you have any real critique for this one? Because I'm just hearing a bunch of nonsense of they stole a game where Ryan Tannehill threw for 3 interceptions, just 198 yards. Derrick
Mm,
Henry only had 63 rushing yards. Like, bruh, come on now. Let's stop that. Let's stop there. There was no stealing. There was no thieving. There was no thieving in New Orleans this time. They won this game.
sound like you trying to be on my wife's good side. I mean, you just relax. Stop trying to suck up over there,
No,
sir.
no, no.
Okay,
I'm
all
just
right.
I'm just trying to say, the, the Titans didn't do what they were supposed to do going into New Orleans. They definitely could have won this game, and for some reason they just did not do what they were supposed to do. And I think this is one of the things that I was excited about as I was watching because
Your bold
my,
prediction.
my
I was
prediction
about
is
to say,
still, yeah. I
trust me,
think
I'm watching them. I'm watching the damn game, and I'm over here. have Ish's voice in the back of my head saying, "Oh, all three quarterbacks are going to
All
play
three
this
quarterbacks gonna
year.
play
They're
sometime
going
this
to play."
season.
The
That
fuck
you're
they
gonna get
not.
all three quarterbacks. All three quarterbacks gonna play for the Titans at some point this season. We're gonna have all three of them play. Like
All right.
they should have pulled Tannehill. I get it. It's week one, so they didn't want to do that because it's gonna create controversy. But they should have pulled Tannehill in this game. He cost them the game.
Like you said, you can't pull Tannehill week one at that. Um, I will say this though, on a serious note, I've seen a lot of people concerned. I'm talking about Titans fans concerned about Derrick Henry not getting more snaps than the backup running back. I have no worries or issues with
No.
that. It's about usage for Derrick Henry, and it's about making sure that he's fresh at the back end of the season. I don't want to run him into the ground. That's just very stupid. I think because of the way Derrick Henry makes it look so easy, everybody expects him to tote the ball 400 times a season, and that's just not winning. That's not smart football at all. So it's week one. I'm not gonna put the house on fire just yet, but I need at least a touchdown next week. If I don't get a touchdown next week, we gonna have some problems. We gonna have some problems. All right, let's move on to the NFC South matchup between the Panthers and the Falcons. And if I'm being honest with you, is this game pretty much went as expected when it comes to Bryce Young's first game debut as a rookie. And unfortunately, I think this is probably the game that welcomes him to the NFL because he was not able to make certain throws that he thought he could probably make because these are NFL caliber players. And I don't know if the height is a factor. I'm trying to be very subjective of Bryce Young because I do like him, and I do know that obviously the height and just the body structure is a concern for most uh, GMs. But if he's not able to see who he needs to throw the ball to, this is going to be something that they might have to revisit with the Panthers ish.
Um, I don't think that there's a problem with the height just yet. I would hate to say that that's the problem. I think that one, they just don't have a very good offensive line, which this seems to be a theme going this year. There's a lot of teams that I just think the offensive lines just are not quite there. This is another team where that offensive line is just not quite there. And when you combine that with the fact that they've got a lot of soul searching they had to have to do to figure out, what their offense is going to be with Bryce Young at the helm and feeling that out and all of that, because it is a new situation there in Carolina. I think week one you're down to have some growing pains, and I think maybe for the first couple of weeks you're going to have growing pains. I think this is definitely one of those situations where we need to be a little more patient and just kind of pump the brakes and say, you know what, let's let's prepare ourselves to have a couple of rough weeks, and then we just want to see incremental improvement throughout the season, right? Like we just want to see better next week than we did week one. And week three, we just wanted to be a little bit better than we saw week two. And if they can do that, I would say they're in a good spot. But if we see consistent, just poor play, then yeah, we probably got a issue in Carolina. But I think it's a new team, like I said, new coaching staff, new quarterback, just a lot of news going on there.
Love that perspective. I'm not going to argue with you on that one at all. Let's go ahead and move on to another rookie debut. Mr. Anthony Richardson takes on a guy that almost still looks like a rookie, Mr. Sunshine, aka Trevor Lawrence, aka T Law, aka the baddest gunslinging boss in the state of Florida. The Jaguars went into Indy and took care of business there. But besides that, I just wanted to point out this was a hell of a matchup, quarterback matchup between both guys. Unfortunately, Anthony Richardson did get a little banged up at the end of the game. They said it was just a knee bruise. He said he should be okay for week two, so that's good to know. I just need him to not keep ramming his damn body into people thinking that he's Cam Newton and whatnot. We saw what happened with Cam Newton in his career. So can we please relax, Anthony Richardson? But other than that, I loved. I didn't get a chance to actually watch the game live, but I did go back and watch the highlights and whatnot. And the back and forth between both of these teams, the Colts at one point in time were up on the Jaguars, and the Jaguars was able to take back the lead and were able to obviously win this game. But I think it showed a lot between both of these teams. Right now, if again I'm just being subjective, I think the Jaguars are the best team in the AFC South. I think right now is their division to lose. Calvin Ridley is really the difference maker on that offense. I mean, Calvin Ridley, first game back from his suspension, 100 yards. I mean, he really is transforming this offense for Trevor Lawrence, and everybody will benefit from the rest of the receivers and the running back. Calvin Ridley is what DeAndre Hopkins thought he was going to be to an offense.
I was waiting for that.
I'm dead ass serious. But yeah, week 2, DeAndre Hopkins. I need you to get your shit right. But for this case in point, when it comes to this game, I'm very impressed by both teams. I think the Colts are a little bit better than people think that they are going to be, and I just love the energy, honestly, of this game. Period. Ish.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that about the Colts because for Jacksonville, it's pretty much what we thought they were going to be. Well, we think they're the best team in the AFC South. I still stick with that. As of right now, I'm saying they're still the best team in the AFC South. I like the fight. I like how they were able to find a way to pull it out. Most importantly, a shutout in the fourth quarter. No points in the fourth quarter, which is what helped them, pull this game out. But from the Colts' perspective, I think we were trying to warn everybody on Sunday morning, like, hey, this team is not a bad team by any means. Like, they're a good team. If Anthony Richardson can play well, they're going to be in a lot of games, and they're going to have a chance to win a lot of these games. They had it. They were there. They were, like you said, leading going into the third quarter. And then, they had a shutout fourth quarter. They didn't score any points, and Jacksonville was able to close it out. But ultimately, I was encouraged by what I saw from the Colts. I think that Anthony Richardson looked good. Really just the one interception, and it was just, poor decision. But I actually am a little bit scared because if he can play like that consistently, this Colts team, they could shock a couple of people. Maybe even sneak into the playoffs and like that third wild card spot.
I mean, I've said it from the get-go. For whatever reason, people wanted to just denounce Anthony Richardson because of his lack of playing experience for Florida and just the way that Florida season was. And again, I understand. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and make a case for why the record was bad and why just the Florida Gators were bad in general. But if you look at just his skill set, if you look at just the way that he's able to throw, and I'm not looking at his pro day like people looked at Zach Wilson when it comes to, oh wow, he threw the ball far. No. Just look at him as a physical specimen of a quarterback. He has it. Now, can the Colts continue to cultivate and get the most out of him? And if they can, then yeah, the Colts they're in business, because it seems like they could have their franchise quarterback and go from there. And they have their franchise quarterback if he doesn't do what the previous franchise quarterback did, which is run himself into the damn ground. So we'll see how that all pans out. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the 49ers and the Steelers. And woo, what a punch in the face. Pretty much pointless. I mean, that's all you can say on this game. And I'm talking about not just for the Steelers, but also for us as well, too, because we definitely both picked the Steelers, and I thought the Steelers were going to come out rocking and a rolling, and that did not happen at all. The 49ers came in with a boombox and came into their trap, took over their trap, and the 49ers were the bigger bullies on this day. Brock Purdy was in midseason form, it looked like. Brandon Ayuk. Are we going to stop disrespecting him as a wide receiver?
Please.
Because for whatever reason, these folks out here now putting him as a top receiver. I don't know why, but you need to.
I've been trying to tell people.
That's a bad boy right there. So it looks like the 49ers they're real. They're real this upcoming season. And it looks like if things health wise can go their way, definitely could be in an NFC Conference Championship game if they're able to again stay healthy. Speaking of health, unfortunately, it looks like Cameron Hayward might be out for a little bit due to a groin injury that he sustained. Looks like he might actually need to get surgery as well. So
Not only
um,
Hayward, Deontay Johnson
Deontay Johnson as well. Yes, sir. Thank you for
out for a
bringing that
couple
up.
weeks as well. So
And also somebody that didn't get hurt, but looks like he was hurt, and also due to and also needs to probably go ahead and retire, and that's Patrick Peterson.
mm,
Patrick Peterson, you are a legend. You probably are a Hall of Famer, but it might be time for you to hang him up. Just like with Joe Hayden. When Joe Hayden came over to the Steelers, Joe Hayden, I think you retired about 2 or 3 years, a little bit too late. But
mm,
again, go get that check. Ain't nobody hating on you. Go get that check at all. But Patrick Peterson, I was hoping you were gonna come over to the Steelers and add some veteran, leadership and wasn't gonna have to worry about getting torched too much because you have some safety help and this, that, and the third. Brandon Ayuk had a field day against you. It
man,
looked like a sparring match. Mayweather versus just his grandson. Like that's what it looked like out there. It
dang, not
was
his grandson.
it wasn't fair. I mean, I thought I was watching a Walmart version of a cornerback holding Brandon Ayuk. I mean,
Hmm.
it was very sad. I mean, I don't really know what else to say besides I don't think the Steelers are going to be over 500 this year. I know that's over. I'm overreacting right now. I'm telling you right now, I am overreacting because I'm worried. Kenny Pickett didn't play well. You have injuries already across the board for the Steelers. Najee Harris, to me, is not becoming what he needs to be for that team. I'm concerned. Now, Mike Tomlin most likely isn't, and he'll throw out a Tomlinism and he'll make sure that the team is ready to go. But I'm worried.
No, 100% I agree. I am worried. I have some concerns. Um, Deontay Johnson is going to be out for a couple of weeks, but the usage of Najee Harris and the usage of George Pickens, I'm concerned. I don't know what this offense is trying to do. I don't know what this offense identity is. I don't know how they score enough points to really, compete with the rest of the teams in the AFC North. And right now, the defense doesn't look like they are executing well enough to stop some of these top offenses. Um, San Francisco, don't get me wrong, is a good team, a really, really good team, and they are going to be a really good team this year again. Uh, so I'm not, holding that against them, but I'm looking in their division. Well, you got three other really good teams in your division. How do you play against these teams? I mean, how are you going to play against Cincinnati, Cleveland, who looks to be better this year with Deshaun Watson? I mean, Baltimore, if they can stay healthy, how are you playing against them? So I'm concerned for Pittsburgh. I want to see something next week from the offense. If I don't, then yeah, I'm just gonna have to say it. It's not gonna be. It's gonna be another, maybe close to 500 year.
Let's get to the comment section right quick. Fractional one that says, "Boy, I was wrong about Kenny. Yes, I know it's just one game. Like we said all show. I mean, yeah, we'll look back, of course, on week one. By the time week 8 get here, and we'll all be saying a different tune about all these teams and games and whatnot. My boy, Coach T, he says I'm worried about the Steelers myself.
Yeah.
Lee from the previous topic, he says, "Can the Colts cultivate?" I see what you did there, pal. I love my. I'm a dad. I love my puns, so it is what it is. Yeah, I want to continue to beat a dead horse. I know I feel like I
Yeah. Let's
keep
not be.
saying this a million times, but let's go ahead and move on and see where both of these teams are next week. I think the 49ers will continue to keep being the 49ers. It's the Steelers. They're on the mat right now. The Steelers need to figure out if they can get off the mat. If not, it might be a knockout before the season even starts. All right, Cardinals versus Commanders. Not too much to really talk about. I'm not really going to spend too much time other than I will say the Cardinals came out and were very competitive. At one point in time, I thought they were going to actually win the game. And if that was going to happen, I might have to look at the Cardinals a little bit differently because how are you going to bring in Josh Dobbs and him come on to the team and as a road opponent coming to DC and win a game, I was going to have to look at the Cardinals a little bit differently and say maybe they're not tanking, but they are. I don't know. But again, I don't really want to spend too much time on this one.
Yeah, my biggest thing that I was going to say about this is I was thinking, and I made a statement, and we may talk about this a little bit later, that I thought that the Cowboys were going to finish last in the NFC East. Yeah, I was wrong. Yeah, I was wrong. Yeah, I was wrong. Yo, this Commanders team, I was watching this game, and I was like, yeah, nope, nope, no.
Yeah, you was disrespectful for that one though. I know I know everybody don't care for Cowboy Nation from time to time, but that was silly of you, Ish. Come on now.
I thought some things going into the season and watching preseason. I thought, maybe this defense wasn't going to be as good as they were. And yeah, I already decided. Yeah, I know I was wrong, but still.
Fracture one that says Ron would have been fast as fire if they would have lost that game. Also, he says EB looking rough. Yeah, again as always, it's one game, so
it took 10 points in the fourth to win this game.
Yeah, another game that again week one. Maybe we need to see how this all plays out. But the Raiders come into Denver and beat the Broncos by a point. Who does this say more about, Ish? Because I really don't know. Does it say more about the Broncos, or the Sean Payton era, or the Raiders and the Josh McDaniels era?
I think it was two meh teams just doing meh
stuff.
Okay. I mean, I don't think that it really says too much. It's one of those where it's a divisional matchup, week one. One of them had to win. So one of them won. I don't think we're gonna learn too much about
any tied. We could have tied.
Well, I guess they could have, but I don't think we're gonna learn too much about either team right now. I think it's gonna take a little bit more. We're gonna see the Bills. The Raiders they go to the Bills this week, so that's gonna be interesting to see.
That's gonna be interesting
because I definitely want to see how you follow up this win. Is it gonna be more the same?
The Raiders start off the season with 2 road games, huh?
Yeah, and then the Broncos, they host the Commanders, so they got 2 home games the opposite end, and it's going to be interesting to see, how do you bounce back, being at home again, so no traveling or anything to worry about. I would expect that after seeing how the Commanders played, we got to win this one. I'm not going to say it's a must win, but we're going to have to win this one.
Fresh one that says Denver might be that dark horse for a worse record.
I don't know about worse record.
And I see what you did there for a dark horse, though, too.
Dark horse, though, yeah.
Let's go ahead and move on to the Dolphins and the Chargers. And this game was everything that I expected it to be. Bangity-bang on each side of the ball when it comes to offensive numbers galore. I mean, tremendous from Tyreek Hill, right? I mean, obviously Tua with his 400+ yards passing, but we got to start with Tyreek Hill, right? And I stated this on my Twitter page when it comes to we got to stop talking about Tyreek Hill as just this speedster specialist and this, that, and the third. He's a complete wide receiver.
You've been saying it.
He's a complete wide receiver, and he's not somebody that is not just so much of a one-trick pony, but he's not somebody that's just going out there and beating everybody and not putting in the work. He's in the offseason, he's putting in the work. Like, he's going out there to go get better. Yeah, of course, you'll see him on social media doing his videos with probably Destroying and other guys of that nature, but he's legitimately working on his craft. And it's refreshing to see a speedy guy being able to go out there and work on his route running, because you were a little bit of a speedster back in the day. When you're a faster receiver, you don't have to run routes as crisp as a guy that's a little bit over 6 feet. I'm just using myself as an example. I wasn't the fastest guys out there, so I had to make sure my route running was a little bit more on point to be able to get defenders off me. When you're a faster guy, you can get defenders off you just due to your speed. But for himself, he runs routes so much better than he has before, to where he can run the perfect route and then get a DB on his heels to where he can do whatever he wants then at the top of the route. What I mean by that is, let's just say he's running a dig. He can run a dig to where he can run it on the outside, come back in. He can run it on the inside to stay inside. He can run deep and make you think that he's running deep, stop on a dime, and run that dig route. He allows himself so many options as a raw receiver. It's really crazy to watch because of his speed. And I mean, he's somebody that I think is changing the game. He's the Steph Curry of wide receivers when it comes to he's not doing it the traditional way. He's doing it his way, but also still the way that has always been done, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, he's got all the tools, and like you said, I mean, he does so many things so well that it's hard to really cover him without putting multiple men on him, and even then, he still finds a way to get open. So yeah, it's more at a detriment to you of pick your poison. How you gonna try to stop this guy? And hey, hats off to Josh McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins. They scheme it well. They find ways to get him the ball, creative ways to get him the ball, and he just continues to do what he needs to do to keep their faith. And I mean, hey, sky's the limit really for this offense, and that's one of the reasons why I picked them in this game. And also on the other end, Austin Eckler, man, my boy was running that rock. I mean, 16 carries, 117 yards, and a touchdown. Um, there was that all that talk before the season about him wanting a new contract, wanting to be traded. He just came out there and he ate. So I'm definitely looking at Brad Staley, my boy
Brandon Staley,
Brad
yeah.
Staley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you need to get up out of there. I'm blaming you for the loss.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a team and you give up 34 points, I'm sorry, 36 points. Yeah, I mean that defense is a lot of question marks for that Chargers team right now. I don't know how much longer he's gonna be able to make it out there in LA. I definitely think this is his last season. But yeah, it's a lot of what's going on in LA because you guys are too talented not be able to get over this hump that is pretty much in you guys' head. Lee says Tyreek was double covered 72% of the snaps. That stat line is absurd. It really is. I mean, if you're four plays and three of the plays you're going to be doubled and you're still able to put up over 200 yards receiving. You top receiver. I mean, there's no question about that. It's Jefferson, right? I mean, it's Jefferson, it's Hill, and again, you could debate, maybe Chase, maybe. Sure, who am I missing right now? I know I'm missing plenty of wide receivers right now, off the top of my head, but you could throw again anybody you want to throw in there. But Hill, it seems like you're gonna have to throw him in there just
Oh
due
yeah, he's in
to
the
his
top.
talent alone.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. We're almost done with tonight. We got a couple more games. We'll go ahead and get you guys up out of here. Eagles and Patriots, of course, Super Bowl rematch. Eagles took care of business in New England. At one point in time, I thought Tom Brady was going to put the pads back on because the way that he was being celebrated before the game, and maybe Tom could have beat this Eagles team because Mac Jones unfortunately came a little short. Now I will say Mac Jones didn't play. He didn't play horrible. If you look at stat line, his stat line was decent, but Mac Jones, it just seems as though that it was just a little too late. He didn't perform well in the first half. He brought it together in the second half, but overall, Mac Jones was a part of the reason why the Patriots lost this game. Eagles already look kind of I'll say defensively look in midseason form. For whatever reason, the NFL wanted Jordan Davis to fall to the Philadelphia Eagles, and now they have the best defensive line pretty much for the most part in the NFL. And if nobody can stop this defensive line, it looks like we might get half of our Super Bowl prediction right ish when it comes to the Eagles going back to the Super Bowl. But overall, Eagles as well too have some new coordinators. I think that's another thing that they'll have to have some growing pains, like you said earlier, throughout the season. But just overall, their talent alone will surpass all of that to where even when they have a busted player or something that goes wrong, they'll find a way to make the best out of it because they're just so talented all over the field. Ish.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of growing on this coaching staff and with this crew just getting used to each other and everything. I thought ultimately though they played well in the first half. Then you saw like the play calling just kind of seemed to be up and down in the middle of the game, and they still were able to win the game. So at the end of the day, it worked out. I do think, however, the Patriots need to go ahead and start playing Zappy. I don't know why they're playing around. Mac Jones, get him up out of there.
You already throwing the petition now,
Zappy better start playing.
huh? The offense was crappy, huh?
Put in Zappy.
My boy Coach T, he is an Eagles fan. He says Eagles will miss former offensive coordinator Shane is that Stinson or Stinson?
Steichen.
Steichen? My bad with the last name. And then also he says play calling was an issue, just like you stated as well. Again, I think for both coordinators, it's going to be some growing pains. But I know if you're an Eagles fan, I'm pretty sure everybody's excited that Justin Gannon is not or defensive coordinator for the Eagles anymore. So at least you got a win on that point. I think the offense will come around again. It's just too talented, and it's just too much chemistry amongst that offense to where no matter who's calling the plays, they're going to find a way to be successful for that Eagles team. There you go, Jonathan Gannon. There we go. One of those J's. I knew it was one of those. Jonathan, Justin, Jefferson, Jehovah, Hyphy, Juan. One of those J's. I knew I would get it sooner or later.
Yeah.
Packers and Bears, like I
We
stated in
have
the
to.
pregame show, the oldest rivalry in the NFL, and the Packers took care of business once again. And so instead of Aaron Rodgers being the Bears' daddy, it is now Jordan Love's turn to be
Do
the
the step
daddy.
daddy. Do the
He's
step
now the stepdaddy.
daddy.
Yes, sir. He came in that house like Melvin was cooking some eggs for the baby boy and the bad news Bears for Justin Fields. I I want to be I really want to throw the red flag and the conscience and the DEFCON 5 for the Bears, but I want to give it in one more week because I did say that the Packers are going to win this game. I did say that this is a game that you'll be surprised on how well the Packers play, and as you see, I mean, I think Jordan Love is going to be a very valuable asset for this Packers team. I
No
don't think the
doubt.
Packers are going to be as bad as people think that they're going to be. But for the Bears and Justin Fields, they need to figure it out very soon, or they might be in search of a new quarterback in this upcoming draft. Because if you look at this next draft, I mean, it is quarterback heavy. And if you're looking for a quarterback, this might be the time, and you might move on from Justin Fields, right? You might want to say, okay, this ain't working out. You can either be the backup quarterback for us, and I would get somebody else, or you can move on and go elsewhere. I kind of like the Zach Wilson situation in New York, but right now it is not looking great. Fracture Wanda says, "Did Love look good because they were playing the Bears?" No,
I think
I
he's just
think
ready. I
I
think
think
he's
he's just
ready.
ready. Yeah,
Yeah, he's done what a lot of rookie quarterbacks, young quarterbacks wish they could do. He had to sit behind somebody. He had the chance to learn how to be a professional, learn how to prepare himself, learn how to get ready for these games, and had plenty of examples and teachings on how to whoop the Bears. And I think he just went in and he did exactly what he's been prepared and trained to do. So for the Bears, I'm a little concerned. If it
yeah.
continues this way, I'm gonna tell you right now, the play calling in Chicago, just the overall makeup of that team, it does not look good. Like this is
Mhm.
not an overreaction. I think definitely Chicago fans should be scared.
Yeah, I agree. Fracture Wanda says Justin's not cutting it. Ohio State quarterbacks continue the trend. Hope CJ breaks that trend. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Rams and the Seahawks. What a
Mm,
surprise in Seattle.
mm.
Rams go into Seattle and beat them pretty handily, 30-13 ish. I'll let you start off with this one.
Yeah, my concern going into the season, and even though I picked the Seahawks to win this game, my concern going into the season was how is Seattle going to handle being that front runner this season? Because I think last season, nobody was really checking for them like that, and Gino kind of broke out and he played really well. And then this year going in, everybody was saying like, oh, Gino, the team, they may actually have something, It does. I mean, it's only week one, so I'm not going to jump the gun. But it doesn't look like Gino has that same sort of hunger, or it just doesn't look the same, right? Like, I mean, 16 for 26, 112, and a touchdown. Like, yeah, that's not gonna cut it, my man. That's just not looking, especially against a division rival. Like, this was not the kind of game for me where you can say like, oh, we just weren't prepared. Oh, they just schemed really well. Like, nah, bro. This is a division rival. You should have been ready to go for this. And if you're gonna be the team that everybody thought you were gonna be, you gotta win this game at home. And to have this happen without Cooper Cup, I mean, like. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, which game was more of a surprise upset for you? This game or the Bucks going into Minnesota?
The Bucks going into Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah, the reason why I asked is because obviously Rams have Matt Stafford, and you still have, of course, a couple of
Yeah,
valuable
yeah, they
offensive
still got some
pieces. But
pieces.
really, this is offense all the wide receiver group runs through Cooper Cup. So
Yeah.
we saw last year how Matt Stafford struggled without Cooper Cup in the lineup. So I just thought it was gonna be more of the same. But again, was this one of those games where we look back on and just say, oh, that was just a fluke of a game, and the Rams were just able to get them one, and the Seahawks are able to be a successful team, and the Rams are just going to be mediocre, or can the Rams find a way to be competitive this year? I don't know, but this is definitely one of those games where I had to scratch my head a little bit. I will say though, before we move on, when it comes to the Seahawks, do you think with their offense, because they now have all these wide receiver weapons, that they want to try to play with these shiny toys and not stick with what got them here, which is run the ball and then, of course, throw the ball downfield?
I'm not too sure. I don't think that's what their situation is. I think that they're still committed to their identity of running the ball. I just think that they got put in a difficult situation, and maybe they have a little bit more faith in Gino after last season, and it just didn't work out this game.
I love that take. It. Love that take. All right, let's go ahead and end it off with Sunday night football game, the Giants and the Cowboys. And woo! This game was over with in the first half. I'll start first because I want to hear
First
from
quarter.
my friend, my brother Ishmael, about his guy Danny Nichols. Now, y'all know, if you tune into the show, y'all do know how I feel about Mr. Danny Wooden Nickel, and how my brother right here, how he feels about Danny, Mr. Dimes. And am I going to put all the blame on him? I'm not, but I'm going to put at least about 92% of it on him,
Ninety-two
because
percent.
yeah. Now,
Oh hell
now,
no!
don't get me wrong.
Here we go.
Two of those interceptions were not him. I was two of those interceptions was not his fault. Popped right out of Saquon's hands. I'm not going to blame him on that. But last time I checked, they paid you, Daniel. They paid you. They didn't pay Saquon. They paid you. They paid you. Okay. So with that being said, you're gonna take this blame, sir. You're not gonna run from this blame. You're gonna take this L. You're gonna put up 0 points at home, and you think that we ain't gonna look or talk about the quarterback? Oh hell, not Ish. It don't work like that. It don't work like that.
I
So
should have known.
you should have known, all right. You should have known by the way they're getting their ass whooped on national television. You would think they stole something. All right. So you need to go and talk to your boy Danny. Go put him on FaceTime, or put him on whatever line that you want to put him on, and let him know this is unacceptable. I thought this was going to be a competitive Giants team, but 0 points. I mean, shit. The Titans put up more points than y'all, and all we did was kick field goals. So, Ish, please explain to me what happened.
I mean, let me just say this, right? Every team is gonna have a bad game at some point this season. No team is gonna go undefeated, right? So this is gonna be your worst game. Let's pray this is your worst game, right? As far as what did I see as I watched it? To be honest, I'm watching this game, and I think I sent a message to the group chat. How is Danny supposed to carry these guys, bruh? And I think my exact words was, "How do they expect Danny to carry these bums?" Because Look at what he has around him to
Bums.
do.
Oh, now they're bums.
But look at
Not
what
everybody
he
bums
has
now.
around him to work with. Okay, Danny was out there, and I'm not gonna lie. The interception that he threw, not the Saquon nonsense, the interception that he threw, where he was going out of bounds, trying to imitate Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, my man is pressing because he feels the pressure. He feel like they got to score some points. He feel like he got to make a play because no one else is gonna make a play. No one else is gonna do anything. Saquon, you wanted money so bad. Why don't you show us why you need some money? Because you sure didn't show me anything there. You didn't show me not a dang thing, okay? You had Danny out there looking crazy. The offensive line, what the hell was that? I mean, this man could not. I mean, as soon as he snapped the ball, Michael Parsons was
Michael
in his
Parsons right in
face.
that face. Yeah.
Michael Parsons was right in his face.
You ain't
Like,
wrong.
golly. Let me just
Danny
say
Dimes
something
still
about the
get 90%
Cowboys.
of that blame though.
Let me say something about the Cowboys. This defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense,
Oh yes,
okay?
it is.
If Dak Prescott does not find a way to lead this team to a Super Bowl, they need to get rid of that man.
Point blank
If
period.
I'm
Point
just
blank
going to say
period.
it right now, if this defense continues to play like this and Dak Prescott doesn't find a way to get them to the Super Bowl, he needs to be gone.
My man.
That's it. That's what I saw. He needs to go. That there is no excuse this year because
That's the
this is the kind
second
of
takeaway
defense
from this
that
game.
can
Yes.
lead you. This is the defense that will carry you to the Super Bowl. You just got to go out there and make your plays and do what you got to do and don't lose the game. Okay.
Now we're on the same page when it comes to that. Yes, obviously the main topic for this
You
game
need to get on
was
the same
the
page about
Giants.
Danny Dimes, right? Because
Yeah,
Danny
you need
Dimes,
to as well because he's not that great. But anyways, like I said, it was obviously the Giants not putting up any points in this game, but it also we have to look at Dak Prescott and what he's been able to have over the last 2 years. The Cowboys defense is a defense that's led the league in turnovers back-to-back years, which is the first time in NFL history. If they're able to do it in back-to-back years and you can't even get past a divisional round, I don't care how nice of a person Dak is and how much dirt that he has on Jerry Jones, because he must have some type of dirt on him. You got to move on. I mean, y'all got to figure out something to get somebody else in there to take this offense to the next level, because the Cowboys, like we talked about in the pregame show about 5 years ago, you had the best offensive line at one point in time until it started deteriorating. Now you have the best defense, which is something that people like Kirk Cousins and other quarterbacks around the NFL wish that they had, and you can't even get past the second round of the playoffs. So, Ish, I am 100% agree with you. If Dak is not able to take care of business this year, Cowboy fans can't defend him at all. Fracture One says Dak needs to do his best Russ impression when the Legion of Boom was alive. Yeah, I mean, my apologies. Say impersonation. My apologies on that. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Yeah, when you have a great defense, just don't mess the game up. I mean, it's pretty simple. All right. With that being said, before we get out of here once again, like I said, go ahead and tune in next week. I'll drop a clue for y'all in regards of winning this beautiful, beautiful mini helmet signed by Mr. Leonard Williams, and we'll go ahead and have more and more of those clues throughout the season. We appreciate y'all, as always, for tuning in. Before we get out of here, I do love this question that Mr. Fracture One has. He says, Kyler for Dak in the offseason. Heard Caleb might stay depending on what team has first pick. Yeah, we'll see what Caleb and them talking about, what they doing. That's more drafting and all that type of politics.
You still have Drake May, who GMs are excited about. Shador Sanders.
Okay, another Mitch Trubisky. We're not even gonna do no Drake.
People starting to get excited about him. Sam Hartman from Notre Dame.
Another Notre Dame quarterback. Yeah, Brady Quinn and blah blah blah.
Quinn Ewers from Texas. People trying to see what he's doing. I mean, you called it earlier. The draft class coming out this year is loaded at the quarterback position. Supposedly, because I don't believe in all of these guys.
No, not at all. Oh, no, not at all. It's probably three. It's probably 3 or 4.
So, I mean, we're going to have to take it with a grain of salt. But I think some of these teams, they're going to find ways to get young quarterbacks in the draft rather than trade for some of these guys that are likely on the move after this season, right? A Kyler Murray likely on the move after this season. I don't know how many teams are really going out of their way to make a move to get him, especially Dallas, because they just got Trey Lance. Like, if you believe that Trey Lance may have a future, why would you go bring in a Kyler
Trey Lance.
Murray to
Yeah,
stunt
yeah.
Trey Lance? Like, I don't think you could do that. Now, the question that's going to be out there is teams like Chicago and Houston who have young quarterbacks that they just like drafted. I mean, I know this is like year 3 for Justin. This is only going to be the rookie year for CJ Stroud. But the question is going to be if this draft is, if like these quarterbacks that are kind of on the fence right now, Quinn Ewers, Sam Hartman, if some of these guys continue to perform well throughout the season, does a team like Houston, if CJ Stroud doesn't perform well, if Desmond Ritter in Atlanta doesn't perform well, do those teams that got young quarterbacks, do they give them time, or do they go in the draft and try to get one of these young guys that
It's not unheard of to move on from quarterbacks within a year or two. I mean, we saw it at Arizona with Josh Rosen. I mean, we've seen it before. So I mean, if a management group said, "Hey, we need to move on," they will do that. All right, last thing before we get out of here. First one that did say Foles to the Jets. I don't know if that's a exclamation point because it happened or an exclamation point because you something that you're hyped with. Because I haven't seen any reports on that yet. But if it did happen, then that's interesting.
I still
First,
haven't seen any reports about that.
okay, well, I guess we'll talk about that more maybe on a Sunday when we join you guys on for week 2 preview here on Next Talking Ish. But for tonight, we are done, and we appreciate y'all as always for tuning in. We went a little over mainly because it's week 1, and we gotta squeeze all of it in. There was a lot to talk about, and I'm still just baffled ish of what we just witnessed over this weekend, and it's just week 1. You got 17 more.
Man.
That's not even including the playoffs. So we'll see y'all once again on X Talking History. Appreciate y'all for joining in, and see y'all on Sunday, 10 o'clock Central Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Thank you.
Peace.